Today we're going to be talking about recursion and iteration. And a recursive sequence is a sequence where each term is determined by one or more of the previous terms. So, for example, if we want to find the first 5 terms of the sequence for which they give us the first term, and they give us a formula for the nth term. So our first term is equal to 5. The second term, or the n plus 1 term, which is our second term, is equal to 2 times the previous term, which was 5, plus 7. So that ends up being 17. Formula for our third term is equal to the second term plus 1. Okay, so that means that n is equal to 2 here. So I have 2 times by my second term plus 7. I have to give you guys this formula. So we get that to be 41. So basically what you're doing to get your next term, or the fourth term, you're taking and you're plugging in the previous term. And then our fifth term would be this. Okay, recursive formulas for an arithmetic sequence. Okay, it's basically the previous term plus d. If you think about it, that totally makes sense. It's the previous term plus the common difference. So write a recursive formula for the sequence. So I need to figure out the nth term is the previous term, and the only way you can algebraically write that is n minus 1 plus your common difference. We'll figure out what your common difference is. To get from 3 to 10, we add 7. We add 7 again. We add 7 again. So we're consistently adding 7. Now you always have to tell me what the first term is. If you don't tell me what the first term is, I'm not going to be able to solve the problem, because I'm not going to be able to plug in the previous term right here. And then for this one, so we have to recognize what type of function this is. So to get from 5 to 20, we multiplied by 4. And we consistently are multiplying by 4, so it's geometric. So our nth term is the common ratio, which is 4, times by the n minus 1 term, times by the previous term. And again, you need to tell me what the first term is, or I'm not going to be able to solve the problem. Okay, next. Write a recursive formula for the sequence where I give you the third term and I give you the common difference. So we know that this then is arithmetic. Okay, so if I know the third term is equal to 6, okay, I then now know that the second term is 5 less than that, so that's going to be 1, and our first term is 5 less than that, which is negative 4. So our nth term is equal to a sub n minus 1 plus 5, because that's our common difference, where a sub 1 is equal to negative 4. So I had to find this first term to figure out where you started at. Okay, you needed to show that to me. Okay, iteration. Iteration is a fancy word, but it's not that bad. Okay, so what it is you're repeatedly composing a function onto itself. Okay, so you have your initial value. So I'm going to give you some certain value initially, and you're going to be given some function. To get your first iterate, you plug in the first value and you find the function. Now the second iterate is you compose the function twice. meaning you take the value that you originally found right here and compose it into the function to get the second value, and so on until they tell you how many ever you want to find. It's another way of dealing with sequences if you think about it. Just instead of multiplying or adding, we're now using composition. Okay, where all I'm doing is plugging in a value for x. Okay, and I'm using the previous value that I essentially found. Okay, for the first three iterates of the function f of x equals 3x minus 1, where x sub 0 is equal to 5. So x sub 1 is our function composed with the initial value. Okay, so that means f of 5, which means I plug in 5 wherever I see an x. So I have 15 minus 1, that's 14. Our second iterate is f of x sub 0. So I'm composing twice. Remember, f of x sub 0 was this answer up here. So all I'm really doing is finding f of what I found in the previous answer. So that's going to be equal to 3 times 14 minus 1. And that works out to be 41. So then our third one is going to be f of x sub 0. That's a fancy way of saying this is equal to f of 41. So you need this previous answer, f of 41. So we plug in 41. So 3 times 41 minus 1 is 122. Okay, so that's kind of a short introduction to iterates for you guys. Okay, you guys have 3 lesson questions for today. All questions are multiple choice, and please make sure those are submitted on time.